Oh, I've got some people joining. Hello.
Oh, fab.
Yeah, we'll just wait a few minutes for people to come and join us. Oh, a couple more people. Hi, everyone. All the way from Glasgow. How's the weather up in Scotland today? It's nice and sunny down in the south today. More people coming in now.
Yeah, we'll just give them a couple more minutes. We're expecting some more people.
Oh, so it's 2:01. Shall we let's crack on, Emma? I'm sure people will come through as we carry on.
Yeah, okay, fab. So hello everyone and welcome to this month's webinar. I'm Emma. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm the new Campus Success Consultant, or otherwise known as Customer Success Manager. So I've taken over from Will as Phil, as he's moved over to customer experience. Phil couldn't be here today because he's visiting the Utrecht office and our colleagues in the Netherlands, so that's very exciting. And I'm joined by Will, who is our product manager, who you probably met in a previous webinar. So today we're going to cover quickly a new fix to the mail tile. Then I'm going to go through some wellbeing CMS content. And then Will is going to demo our new content page, the welcome wizard, and then we'll discuss some use cases for that. Who will benefit from the webinar? So that's marketing and communications, student affairs, and any academic registrars. So firstly, I'll go through this new fix to the email tile template. So the feed tile has been fixed. Previously, you could only view it as a multi-line, whereas now you can see the feed so students can peek at any unread messages from their dashboard. And this is just a quick video detailing how to do that. So first, go to edit and layout. Decide whether you want small, medium or large dashboard, and then drag the existing mail tile down to make it tall enough to display the feed. Go into the mail tile settings and change it to feed, and then edit your slide limit to the number of emails that you want to display on the tile. Save the tile settings and the dashboard layout, then refresh the screen on your mobile app, and the changes will take into effect immediately. So that's just a quick video on how to do that. If you've got any more questions about that, just email me afterwards, or this webinar, it's being recorded as always, so you can watch it back on our YouTube channel. And next, I'm going to discuss some of the wellbeing content. So with it being University Mental Health Day this month, we thought it would be quite apt to share with you some of the content Reg Education made in conjunction with Duke Health. So some of the findings from this research are detailed on the screen, which show how much of an overwhelming issue mental health amongst students is, which we already knew, but it's just nice to have the statistics for. However, it is difficult for institutions to identify the at-risk students or connect students to existing resources and provide adequate resources. Therefore, Reg Education developed a more holistic approach to student wellbeing by proactively creating the healthy lifestyle, mental wellness, and public health amongst students. So this is achieved via self-assessments, keyword alerts, and automated workflows that direct students to the correct resources for help. This functionality is available in the Ready app and will be available in the unified product. But for the purposes of this webinar, I wanted to show you how you could create similar wellbeing resources within the myday content pages. And to do this, I've used some of the Duke Health resources just to show you them. So I'll go into our demo environment now. Firstly, it's important to note that if this content management section isn't available to you, just go into your help center, because you just need to make sure that it's enabled and provisioned, and you can follow the documentation here. The tenant admin will need to do that. Just log out, log back in, and it will be good to go. Also, if you want to create the content, it's important that you have the right role and permissions. So to do that, like with any other role, you just go into user management, apply your content management admin, and add your member. Again, save it, log out, log back in, and you'll be good to go. So now, I'll go into the content types. So you can see all the different out-of-the-box content CMS pages that we've created for you, such as accordion, page with iframe, image video, or even responsive YouTube page. And by using these templates, you ensure that your content is in a consistent format across your whole platform. And they're really designed to make it as easy as possible to both create and display. So for the purposes of the mental health content, I chose to create a page with image. So I'll just go into this page now. Edit that. So you can see here, you add your title, your subtitle, and then you've got all your options here, bold, italic, underlined, and it's simple as typing in the content you want. You could even copy and paste it if you wanted to. All of it is already formatted for you, creating a great UX for users without having to know any JavaScript or HTML coding. You can add your right aligned image, so then your text will be on the left. And then you've also got your alt text, making it suitable for screen readers, so meeting any of them accessibility needs. Just view the published page here, and you can see it's all formatted in a lovely nature. So if I go back onto, again, where I created the page, you can see you can actually create your parent page and then children for that parent. And I've even created a grandchild for one of them. So if I went on to edit that, there we go. And if I viewed this page, you can see here that you can see the breadcrumbs at the top, making it really easy for the user to navigate through the pages. Click the link again, see all lovely and formatted, and it really is that easy to create. And then once you've, I've just seen an image pop into the chat. So how would a page with a right aligned image display on mobile? So all you'd need to do, if I just go onto that, as I don't know if Will might be able to add a little bit of content on this.
That's all right. I'll show a bit of the adding content in my demo in a minute.
Okay, fab. I thought he was going to. So I'll just quickly show you how to display it. Oh, I've just seen Andy on mute. Was he wanting to add something?
Yeah, all I was going to suggest was it looks like you was already on your way to just displaying it in the emulator in the browsers there by pressing F12.
There we go. Inspect it. Fab. Thanks, Andy.
All right.
There we go. So you can see it formats automatically. So you can just slide down and it will just rearrange itself. It's really responsive because it's been designed to be that. And I'll go back and close that. So now to add it to the content to a tile, you just go to your dashboard, edit, layout, add the tile, and for the purposes of this, you want your content tile. I've already created a wellbeing resources one earlier, so I'll go into the settings and you've got your title. So that's just the overarching title of the whole set of resources. You can choose your audiences, so you can target them at a specific group, user or role. For example, when exam period's on, you might want to target these wellbeing resources because students will definitely be experiencing a lot of stress at that time. And then you've got your multi-line as well. So similar to what I just demoed with the email tile, you can pick your slide limit. Design, again, fully personalization to what you want it to be. You can pick your colors, choose a background image, and your contrast ratios there so you can see how accessible it is. Settings, whether you want to display it in the sidebar, I'm not going to because I don't want it to be cluttered. And then your search tags. So this is anything that the student searches for, then this content will pop up. So well-being, mental health, maybe if I had some fitness resources in there or healthy eating resources in there, you simply just type it in and add it. And then select page. So here you pick your content, whether you created the accordion, page with image, which I did in this case. Slide down, select your mental health, save it, save changes and publish. And then you can see it's popped up there with my mental health page. I can click in and all of that is available to navigate throughout. So it really is that easy to create content with these out-of-the-box CMS templates. If anyone does want to read some of these Duke Health resources in a little more detail, just as an example, to get a feel for that kind of content, just let me know after the webinar and I can email it over to you. And now I will hand over to my colleague Will, who will demo the new CMS page, the Welcome Wizard.
Thank you very much. So I'll just share my screen quickly. 2 seconds. Yes, please. There we go. So I'm hoping everyone can see the PowerPoint. Emma, give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Awesome. So yeah, me again. Many of you would have communicated with me or spoken to me in the past. I've spoken to a lot of you as well. So glad to be here and giving a demo. So what am I demoing? Well, last month, we released our new Welcome Wizard. And if you're not sure, that's our new CMS template. That means essentially you can publish content to your users in a way more easy and sort of, yeah, easy and quick to use manner. And that's really important when you create content because that drive towards giving your users exactly what they need and great information is something that we really take to heart for myday and something that we really want to make easier for you in general. So the Welcome Wizard, what I'm going to show you is essentially the first user case, which is what the Welcome Wizard was designed for. And that's a user that is brand new to your platform. So those students that haven't experienced maybe a software service like we have, or that haven't used dashboards or portals, and that maybe just aren't familiar with the way that they work and that sort of new attitude towards online learning. And really, this essentially is just used to make sure that you get your users off to a really great start. Something that, again, is a bit difficult when you're using software. Some people don't know where to go, how to navigate, or what to do. And it's something that we know that if we limit it, then we can create a much more engaging platform for our users and ultimately help with the retention at the end of the day. So, like I said, the initial use case was for the new user, but actually in the process of testing and delivering this content template, we actually found that some people were very kind to share some other use cases that actually make this feature far more diverse than was originally thought about in my mind. To be honest, it's something that actually, when you look at it and with the amazing audience targeting that we have at myday, it can promote something and add so much value to something outside of the standard user case of just a new user. So what I'm going to do after I've done the demo is just go into a bit more detail about some other use cases you could have. And if any of you have any use cases that you've either used already or that you think you can see using, please put them in the chat, because they'll be of great value, not just to us, but to the other users in the chat in the webinar today. So what I will do is just exit this quickly and show you the welcome wizard. So I'll first show you the welcome wizard as if you were a user. And the idea is that I've just joined myday. This is the first thing I've seen. I've signed in using my details, and now I'm on the enrolled student dashboard. And the first thing I'm seeing is this pop-up. And this pop-up is what makes the welcome wizard so different to the other content types. So this pop-up will show all the information you want in a type of carousel content. We have the carousel template, but this sort of delivers it in a far more diverse way, and that is using the content tile. So when the user joins the dashboard, they'll be met with this pop-up, which will show the content you've created and forced to show them when they first start. The thing to note is, once you've cycled through this content, and the content can be as diverse as you want it to be, as you go through on the journey, you've digested all the information, you'll be met at the end with this finish button. And the important thing to note about this finish button is that as a user, once I press this button, I will not see that welcome wizard as a pop-up again. But what I will note is that doesn't mean that it's gone. So all that information that I've just shown as a user has now not just vanished forever and not being able to be accessed again. You'll simply be able to scroll down onto your dashboard and view it as content, the same way that we deliver the content tile, as Emma's just shown. So you can have multiple content tiles on your dashboard, each with different targeting, maybe even different templates, and have such a great and expansive, diverse network of content that drives user engagement. And the thing is, it's not just about what the user does, it's about how as an admin, we can push that content towards our users. And again, it is using a very, very similar format to what Emma has just shown us. So as an admin, what I'll be able to do, scroll down into the sidebar, head to my content page, and you'll notice that this new template will be at the bottom, welcome wizard. Now, you'll only see that there is only one piece of content on here for the moment, and that is simply just because that's the only piece of content that I've created. This piece of content is the one that I just showed you from the user view. And to be honest, this probably took me about an hour at most to get all the detailing in, to set out all the layout, to make it look a bit nicer, to show that you can have different sizings. You can edit things, you can add things, you can change the headings, you can change the layouts, have bullet points, everything that we do in our content, in our templates to make the content better for you to create, we've added to this. So once you've created your content, the next thing is deployment. And the question that you may be asking is, how do we deploy it to make that pop-up relevant to our users? How do we make sure that our users get that pop-up when they first join the platform? And quite simply, that is very, very similar to what Emma has just shown you. So as an admin, I would be able to come into my dashboard and think, right, so I need to add some content to be able to be deployed to the users. And I've got new users starting tomorrow, and I want to make sure they've got all the information they could possibly need for their platform, so that it just reduces that tech deficit that they may have. So as an admin, all I need to do is follow the process that Emma showed us and go through and add a content tile. And all you need to do is just label it the same way you would a normal tile. So we'll just deploy some content. You can change the design to make it look as good or bad as you like. It would be bad on my dashboard because I really don't have an eye for designing. So you can see why I'm using the nice design dashboard to get this point across. But the thing is, though, you can have the audience targeting, and that's what makes it really great, so that you don't actually need to have targeted dashboards. You could just have targeted content tiles, meaning you can have your dashboards for hundreds of people, but you only want to let one user or one group see that content. So then you simply follow the process of adding content, which you would select your welcome wizard content, click through, this is the important one as well, you would click through the versions you have. Obviously, because I've only created the one piece of content, this is why it's only listed there. So be sure to click that, add that to your dashboard. And ideally, if that was the first time you're adding the content to your dashboard, you would hit save and publish. And that pop-up that I showed you at the very beginning would pop up now. It would be acting as if you're the first person landing on that dashboard to see that piece of content. And as I said, it would always be here. You'd always be able to see that piece of content. The only thing to note is that once you have added that content and you've seen that pop up, it won't be there for you again. You'll have to make sure that you have set up the content in a way that you like it. And especially when you go through, use the editing functionality to make sure that you've got that content at the best you'll like it, so that when you hit that save and publish button, you see the content you want to see in the format you want to see it in, so that point in which it's disappeared, you can essentially know that every bit of content you put in there will be displayed in a way that you like it. And then if you're not sure, you can simply come back in here and edit it the same way you would edit any other piece of content, and that would still be deployed, meaning that the user, in the use case where I'm setting out where it's the first time they're on the platform, you could edit it, even though it may not pop up once again for you. If that user hasn't seen it, it will pop up for them the next time they get added to the dashboard. And the great thing is that I've shown that user case, and now I'll go on to some other user cases. And this is I think one of the people is actually in the chat at the moment. Cherry Doyle sent one to me, and that was about alumni. And actually, we do have some really great use cases for this. So I'm just going to list off some of the ones that I've thought about and some of the ones that some people have suggested to us. One thing I think this could be really beneficial for is staff information. So it may not be new users in terms of new students, but you may have staff dashboards that you think, right, we've got a busy week this week. I really need to get some information put across to my staff. So I'm going to create a welcome wizard. And this means that your staff may get back from an inset day or summer holidays and think, right, what's happening within Institute of myday today? And having this welcome wizard pop up would just be a great way to give them the information they may need without having to organize a meeting and take up resource time that may not be necessary. Another great way is simply, if you're not a new user or you're just a pretty standard user of myday, to have campus alerts outside of newsroom or outside of your standard alerts, because this content may be stuff that isn't urgent, but maybe stuff that you want to show your users for their own benefit, and that may not directly affect them, but something that might be nice to see. So they can simply click through that carousel, they'll be able to click finish, and then they won't see that again unless they want to. An alumni dashboard, again, is another great idea. So you've been through your studies. I finished Institute of myday and I'm now moving on, but I still want to stay in touch with my uni and I still want to organize my graduation, or I want to stay in contact with people. I want to email my lecturer, things like this, some way that you may not have a database to be able to access to look at. This welcome wizard would mean that you can have an admin dashboard, an alumni dashboard, sign into it and be met with this content that's all relevant to you as a new alumni to your institution. I've also thought about parent dashboards using some of our audience targeting. You can have a parent dashboard where you have created this welcome wizard content as if a parent is arriving on their child's dashboard. And they would obviously want to know, what am I looking at? What am I seeing? How does it work? Who can I contact in the event that there's some things that I may not be happy with? Just some extra bits of detail that the content can really, really drive forwards. And to be honest, I think there are very, very many more use cases that we could have for this piece of content. Again, something that I had been very linear with and not thought about, but it's fantastic with our audience targeting. You could really think outside of the box and push content towards any aspect of your users as a pop-up, which, you know, in days like this where we need engagement to be really driven home, a pop-up is one of the most important things we can have. And when you add that to content, it really, really drives engagement. So please, if you have any other use cases, please put them in the chat, not just for my benefit, but for everyone else's in here. You might just trigger a light bulb moment in someone, and you could be really, really helping drive the engagement for not just your own platform, but for everyone using myday. So that's it for our welcome wizard. Again, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat. And I'll try my best to answer it. And if you want to arrange a follow-up or maybe just a bit more information, I'm always around. If you shoot me an email, I'll be around. And the other thing we have is our content tiles documentation. So what I'll do is I'll put that into the chat. So for anyone who saw the content that Emma showed or that myself showed, you'll be able to use my documentation and add content to your dashboards in a way that suits you, because to be honest, it's not the easiest thing to do. And I'd like to hope that my guide will sort of hold your hand through that process. And again, if it's too complicated or there's something that you don't know how it works, then members of the team are always around to help you out. So that is it for now. Has anyone got any questions? We'll try our best to answer it. And if you want the mic, please do let us know and we can hand it over. Open my chat here. So haven't looked at it for a while. So what I'll do is just go through and see if anyone has any questions. How would a page with a right-align mobile image be displayed on mobile? So essentially, what you saw with the left-align one, it would be the same, but the image, if you had an image, would move. What else is there? Work with a banner at the top. We answered that one. Can you reset the scene flag for users if you wanted to make it pop up again? No, that is a very good question. And that's something I found out for myself when I was creating this welcome wizard, and something that I have passed on to our developers. The idea that you would be able to see it again is a setting that I think we should add. And again, if that's something you think you want to see, please do write in the chat, because we want to make sure that the users are getting all the information that they need to see up front. And for some users, it may not be the right experience to have to go back and click into that content tile. So as an admin, if we could add a setting to that tile to be able to force that pop-up to be shown not just once, but maybe another time, because it's held against the user ID at the moment currently. So I think once you see it once, that is it. But we are aiming to have that functionality added in, because it's something that I found beneficial, or would find beneficial as well. So other questions on here? Can't see any more. Seen Cherry, you've written a lot there. I'll have a look through that in a minute and see if I can get back to you. Considering using Welcome Wizard to promote the app with links to the app stores to download. Again, another fantastic use case there. So yes, you're right. You can add the links to many other places in the Welcome Wizard. And one of the great things you could do is add the link to your personalized app in the Welcome Wizard. So one of the first pages might be, here's myday on web. Now please download the app to get the extra value out of what you've created. Again, something that they can really, really drive home this engagement with. Can myday provide students with the ability to opt to add back in again, e.g. leaving or joining a new students group? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you could clarify that, that'd be great. Can there be a wizard created for different tiles? So no, at the moment, our only method of delivering this form of pop-up is within that content tile, which really makes it really key. So if you want to have that pop-up availability, I would advise looking at how to deploy content tiles. And equally, a content tile is just another great way of deploying content on a page without needing a user to directly see it. It can just be something clicked into. I've seen Rachel has put the documentation in. So can admins check who's seen a wizard? That's something I don't think is possible. It's not something that I've looked at. And again, is another use case that is actually quite an interesting one. Andy, I don't know if you've seen anything with that. I don't know how that would work in the back end of the platform.
No, we don't have at the moment. I don't think we've got any kind of auditing around who's seen the wizard. Auditing is a huge, obviously, service that I mean, we're working on that in several areas in myday at the moment, but we don't. I don't think we've actually developed anything towards this. I don't think, and will correct me if I'm wrong, there's any plans to do that currently, unless there's a massive need for that. But just to come back to Cliff Hobby's question about self-service through the Welcome Wizard. I don't think we provide self-service at all as a out-of-the-box feature in myday, but it is easy to do. So we did a webinar a couple of weeks ago about using Skim. And I'm not sure, I'd have to look into it, but I think if you was to write your own application that used the Skim endpoints to be able to, I think this would only work with myday groups rather than Azure AD groups, but you can use Skim to actually allow students to opt in and out of groups, I think. If you're interested in following that up, drop me a line, Cliff, and I'll follow that up for you.
Great, and I was just reading some of Cherry's use cases, which are really great as well. especially if you're using it for new starters, to allow them to download the app and helping them with the communication, all the facts and resources. I hadn't thought of using it to download the app myself, but yeah, if you're mainly dashboard focused and really wanting to promote the app, then it's a great way to put the link to the App Store, because we know communicating with students is much more efficient when using the push notifications that come through via the app. And another great use case that I want to say to you, I suppose, is the NSS survey. So now it's a really big thing for institutions, and you can just pop the link on the welcome wizard, and it's the first thing they see when they come into it. I know Sarah and Phil did a webinar last month or a couple of months ago about all the different ways you can promote the NSS survey, but this new functionality is another really great way to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Cliff, in response to your question about the opt-in or opt-out of groups membership, I'm not sure that a user can directly leave a group themselves. Usually it's allocated via your directory or via your admin through the app. So in terms of a opt-out, I'm not sure, Andy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure that functionality applies here.
No, that's right. No, as I was saying before, it's not something that's out of the box. This is a thing that I'm going to be following up for Cliff, if he's wanting to follow this up. But essentially, there's no write back from our SCIM facilities, but you can use in terms of writing back to Azure AD. I mean, but you can use it in terms of setting up a myday group and having people opt in and out of myday groups. But I do need to check to see whether users have permissions themselves to be able to add and remove themselves from the group. So that's something that I need to follow up.
Brilliant.
Is there any more questions before we close? Or are we good?
As always, we'll leave the chat open for a few more minutes. And once we're finished, if there are any questions you have that you feel like you didn't have time to ask, then please, we'll be here to answer any more questions. And obviously, just to let you know that there will be another webinar next month, and we hope to see a lot of you there. We're not sure what it'll be on next, but we will let you know in the meantime. And if there are any questions, please do ask them in the chat. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining.
Will, have you seen a question from Josh? Sorry, just quickly.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure about that one. Andy, can you are you around to weigh in on that?
Let me just have a quick read of the question. So, as our main dashboard has been a point of change recently, wanted to make it easier for mobile. We would like it if we can point students directly to that dashboard only on mobile and not on desktop. So actually, that's a very good question. Yes, we have something called dynamic groups in myday. And what you would be able to use the dynamic group for would be to determine whether the user is signed in on mobile or not. So dynamic groups can only be evaluated as the user signs in. And what you'd be able to do if you have a dynamic group that detects whether a user is on their mobile device or not. So this is whether they're using the app. So if they're using the mobile browser, it won't detect it that as being a mobile, only if they're using the mobile app. Then what you can do is you can audience target the dashboards so that they are essentially, you can flip it around as well. So you can have an audience that is essentially not on mobile and an audience that the user is on mobile. And then you can audience target your dashboards so that if the user's on mobile, only X will appear. And if they're on a browser, wherever that browser is, then they can see everything else. Does that answer your question, Josh? No, it's not an MS Azure. That's actually in myday. So that's a myday myday dynamic groups. If you was to have a look in the identity management application, have a look at groups, you'll see that you can create a static group, which is essentially where you are explicitly determining the membership of that group, or you can create what's called a dynamic group. And the dynamic group gives you a set of rules to determine how to target the users who will become a member of that group. So one of the things is to determine whether they're on web or mobile. You can do it via IP address. There's a couple of others I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are a few things in there. One note of caution, though, we have had a customer try to use that for alerts and for the newsroom. Not designed for that. It's not designed for that. The groups are evaluated when the user signs in, so you will only be able, or you will only get results from that in terms of things like dashboards and tiles. So just be aware of that, but it's still a very, very powerful feature for you to be able to use for that purpose. Does that cover what you need there, Josh? Wonderful. If you do want any more information, we do have information in the help centre. So don't forget to have a look in there. If you need any further information, drop us a line through support, and either Romas or myself will contact you and we can arrange a conversation. Good stuff.
Brilliant. I think as well that is a JavaScript string. Is that right, Andy? So if anyone knows JavaScript for the dynamic groups.
Right? No, yeah, you don't need to write any kind of. It's not based in JavaScript. It's our own rules engine that's at the back.
There we go.
You can write it as well as you can do it manually. My suggestion would be do it using Click and build the rules that way rather than trying to write any script.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the dynamic groups I've had a go at building, and definitely it's a very easy process with just following the sort of the template it gives you with the rules that you can build. So definitely a bit intuitive, but yeah, if you know what you're doing, definitely worth giving it a go. Also, I can see 3 people still in the attendees column. If there are any other questions, please do ask. We'll just wait a couple more minutes and then we shall close it.
I think we've just got Andrew Flanagan left. Andrew, are you still around? You've got a question for us?
Maybe he's away from his keyboard.
Yeah, I think he's away from. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Good. Nobody here but us chickens now.
I'm gonna stop recording then, Rachel, before we